All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Friday, April 24th. Let's go. What a move we had yesterday in the afternoon with that news flow. What happened to my brown noise? There we go. All right. Everything with the stream look okay. Looks good. Yep. All right. So, economic news releases. We've got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers coming out at 10 o'clock this morning. Don't want to trade through it or around it. Potentially could get a trade in before it or after it, but don't want to be anywhere in the market near 10 o'clock. Let's see what this opening auction kind of gives us today. We've got a little bit of a gap since the close of the range yesterday, but what a move yesterday with the afternoon news flow that came out. Again, we tested this gap range. If you look at the TPO chart, we tested this gap range from last week, and now twice we've resisted it, and twice we failed to find balance. And yesterday's rejection was so quick and fast out of it, is that I would highly doubt that you go anywhere near that range again for some time. I think if you're long, you're going to be correct more often than not in this environment now, just based off what has happened over this week and the test lower and the resistance to going lower, not able to find balance. We've got a good balance range up here near 7150, kind of where we're at now. So I think only one of two things happened today. One was we just balance here in the 7160, 7150 range. We just kind of bounce back and forth. People and institutions exit their positions for the week, and the market just balances for the day. Or potentially we start to move higher to do a little price discovery up in 7200s. So we'll see what the market wants to do today. I think the probabilities are on the former scenario where we just find balance today. I don't think institutions, with all the headline risk and the Iran negotiations, are going to be really willing to take large positions going into this weekend. They'll lighten the load, and that results usually in balanced ranges when everyone's just selling and trying to reduce their book size. But again, those are just ideas and theories. If you look at the distribution for the week now, I mean, this is a balanced range if you ever had one, right? And now we're back in value. We opened up today above the value area high on the week, and now quickly come down back into value. So my guess is if we are going to do price discovery mode and start to move higher, you're going to resist the value area high after you break out of value. I don't necessarily like the idea of trying to go long from the middle of value out of value, especially when there could be a high propensity to balance today. So we just got to see what the order flow kind of confirms here, because there's a couple different conflicting scenarios. One is we fade 7165 on the balance back into value, or we wait for the break of 716. I think we just need to see what happens at 7165. Right, we opened there and the volume came in and pushed prices lower, but now the volume's coming in and it's kind of lifting price a little bit down here at 155. I think it'll be pretty telling if we make any retest of 165 as to what we want to do for the day. If we get up to 165, the flow going up to it is weak. You get a lot of volume coming in and then pushes price down. I think you can fade it down to the 7150s, 150. But if you come outside 7165 and it shows a reluctance to retrace or get back into value up here, I think potentially that is the setting stage for a move higher in price discovery mode. So we kind of have the overall bullish narrative based off auction theory and what the distributions and what the TPO chart is telling us. It's just a matter of finding the correct place and having the order flow confirm it. I mean, this low volume area at 7150 was pretty critical yesterday. It's right about here. That's just near the top of the gap to range from yesterday. Again, consumer sentiment numbers coming out at 10 o'clock this morning. Latest news headlines was Iranian foreign minister. He traveled to Islamabad for peace talks. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. So either I think we move higher or we balance today, but I don't think we're going to progressively go lower. I mean, you might make a low test of the balance range at like 120, 130, but as far as like doing a breakdown today, unless there's horrible news flow, I just don't think that's even a plausible scenario today. Could be absolutely wrong though. So I just, in general, today do not like shorts. I don't. I kind of am interested in what happens once we get down to this 150 area, which is also the top of the yesterday's cash session. It's at 147 thereabouts. I think if you find buyers down in this region, 150 to 147, get a lot of volume coming in and list price, I think we can start building position, even though we're in value on the weekly. It's just I really like the bullish narrative, and I'd rather be doing balance trades from the bottom rather than the top, if that makes sense, right? I want to buy out of value back into value rather than shorting out of value back into value if today is just going to be a ranged balanced day. So volume coming in here is still suppressing price a little bit. Volume came in at 154, suppressed price. No large activity yet. Nothing over 100 contracts transacted yet. Only minor signs of seller absorption here in the gap at 159. We're kind of resisting coming back up into this range a little bit. Not exactly getting a very quick rejection of the lows. He had a quicker rejection of the value area high here at 159. Like, I think the only scenario I want to get aggressive on is if we are able to break 165 to the high side on a retest lower. We fail to get back into the weekly value. A lot of volume comes in and lifts it. I think that is the only scenario in which I would get like pretty aggressive about today. And see what happens when we come back up here into 158, 159. This is volume that came in here last time, pushed price down. See if it does it again. No large transactions. News coming out at 10 o'clock this morning. Starting to develop some balance here around 156. So you developed a little bit of a range here. You tested low, you came back into the range. And now you're trying to kind of test the high of this range, this 159, and see if you can break it. It's not a very well developed range, but it is a little bit of a range. The imbalance at the open on the S&Ps was plus 56 million. It's really small imbalance. Doesn't mean anything, but it's always a number you like to just keep an eye on. All right, so coming back into the 159s, volume is lifting price here. Let's see what happens with the volume here. All right, so signs of seller absorption. Volume comes in, suppresses price again, exactly the same level as it just did, 158s, 159s. We're gonna have to allow this market some development today. The fact that we're in a weekly value now, we could just get a lot of volatility and a lot of bouncing around, a lot of the testing of highs and lows of ranges, and then failures, and then it just retraces. All right, this can be pretty common today where you just kind of go above the previous range high, volume comes in, pushes you back down. You go back below the previous lows range, and then back into value. But I just have no intention of shorting this. I don't think there's any business to be done below 130 or 120. I just really don't. It's 9:40, 20 minutes until the first economic news release. Still plenty of time to trade. But I just want to be patient with it. All right, failure to get outside of value. Not a very super quick rejection, and we're kind of close to the POC. This is not a very wide range thus far this morning. This has been the common theme this week is very tight ranges at the open. All right, so finally had a large buyer at 158.50 at 9:39. It's right in here. So he's probably going to mark the high. Volume coming in around this POC. Lifting price is not letting you get back below. This is pretty bullish order flow right here around the POC. All the volume that's coming in here is just lifting price. Like you tested the lows of this range. Yeah, you're definitely going to get up and test the tops of this range now, I think. If we come down here to the POC again and quickly reject on good volume, I'd put a piece in here right now in hopes of front running the economic news at 10. Just because the order flow is pretty bullish right here. But you are getting some heavy volume outside the previous range. It's trying to push price back, but it's not a very quick snap back, right? You're testing outside of value and you're able to like kind of hang here. It's not snapping right back in. And with the overall like kind of bullish narrative, well, I wouldn't say overall bullish narrative, but it's one of the two potential scenarios. I think we're discounting any shorts today or any bearish move just because of what happened yesterday and earlier this week. So let's see if we make another push down here, and if it quickly rejects on volume. So the volume's coming in. I mean, it's not really pushing price down. A lot of activity on the bid. And we're just not really getting anywhere. Okay, I stand corrected. Sorry, market. Yeah, this volume came in here and suppressed price. So now we need a little more confirmation because you didn't quickly come out of this. Maybe another test of the value area low, a quick rejection here. But I like this better as a launch point to test the highs. Seller at 154 and a quarter. Can't get outside of value. Fairly tight range we're working with here. And it's a little wishy-washy here, to be honest with you. I like that you rejected the value area low pretty cleanly, but you didn't do a great job of elevating price here. And I would maybe have liked a little more of a snapback that got a little farther outside of value. All right, so volume immediately coming in at the POC 156 and pushing things back down. So only two large transactions, buyer at 158.50 and then a seller at 54 and a quarter. So that might define the range here for a little bit. 15 minutes until a news release. It's enough time to squeeze in a trade for sure. But that's some heavy volume coming in at the POC, holding things down a little bit. So another buyer at 56.50 on that move. Right there. See, that's more of what you're looking for. All right, all that volume coming in, just lifting price up here. But you want a good, clean, fast rejection of this. You don't want to be hovering around here near the value area low. Seller at 155.50. So you've had a seller at 54.25 and 55.50. So he's the top seller right here. Like volume came in, it lifted price, but ever so barely. Another time we're getting quick rejections out of the value area low again. It kind of has a similar pattern to this, where we kind of quickly reject, getting out of value, can't stay out of there. The volume comes in, lifts price. I think we can add positions. All right, because I think it's pretty feasible that we break these sellers. It's just now we've got 13 minutes until news release. It's like we're cutting it kind of close. And I don't want to have an open trade through the news. So maybe at this point I'm willing to wait, especially because we are getting kind of wishy-washy on this order flow here. All right, this isn't screaming bullish to me. It's kind of bullish, but it's not screaming like, oh, get in right now, right now, right now. And so, yeah, we're going to let anything pass until news release now. And watch it probably just rocket ship right now. All right, because you had several failed attempts here and it quickly rejected out of here. Now, price should want to move away from this pretty quickly. The more you hang around here, the worse this long gets. But not in anything yet. We're just going to let this pass because of the news coming out at 10. So buyer at 158. And he gets quickly rejected on volume. Date for second round of U.S.-Iran negotiations has not yet been determined. Oil is down 0.75% today, $95 a barrel. So pretty steady there. Yeah, this might just chop for the next 10 minutes around 156. So we'll just sit here and we'll just wait until the consumer sentiment numbers come out and see what develops from there. Because, I mean, you're getting pretty quick rejections on both sides of this now. Getting real no signs of absorption on either side. But anytime you test these value area highs and value area lows, you're quickly wicking and rejecting it. Pretty decent volume. So let's see if we can get a break, good clean break of this value area high, and then a potential retest of the 158s. But you have to get outside the value area first. And we're kind of just drifting back and forth at the moment. Volume comes in, puts you right back into value. Some flashes of seller absorption. Not a ton, but enough. Sometimes I really do not like these 10 o'clock news releases. Because it makes it very questionable to trade really anything after like 9:45, because you could be sitting in the trade for 10 to 15 minutes potentially. And then the news could come out and it could do absolutely nothing to the market. And it's like, why did I wait? I like 9:45 news releases better. So very tight range still. I mean, outside the very opening minute, which, what was the volume on the opening minute? 15,000, not bad. All right, because we're kind of imbalance, so that's to be expected. Lots of liquidity here. But we're developing a pretty tight range within the tight range of the distribution for the day. I mean, now we're in a 10-point range here between 160 and 150. A very tight range. So ideally now we want breaks of this range and retests of this range. Seller at 57 and a quarter. Even 56. Yeah, just chopping around the POC. Just quickly rejecting each side. So there's nothing to do right now. There's absolutely no trade. You just be purely speculating and flipping a coin with a slight bias towards going long. Right? It wouldn't be a straight 50-50 coin flip. Because I think your bias still matches the overall auction theory narrative of looking at the TPO charts and seeing what's happened over the past week, that you would have a bullish leaning. So I mean, we're not even entertaining the idea of shorts, I don't think, at all today. I kind of like that one. So the top of the gap from yesterday is 147. You got a pretty good dip in the volume on the weekly distribution around 145. Like that potentially could be a good area that the market goes down to, where volume comes in and lifts price. But potentially you don't even get below this 151. Right? You got a dip in the volume there too. And any attempted move down here, it seems to be getting quickly rejected. Like you just cannot get outside this value area low at all. But be patient. Let this news come out. 5 more minutes. Wrong tab. Is there any sort of news flow that just happened right there? Well, I don't see anything. Oh, Iran's parliament speaker has not resigned. Calls reports rumors. Hmm. Okay. All right, so making the push lower into this region that we're talking about. I mean, if this happens right at 10 o'clock, then just rocket ships out of here. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. All right, I'm going to use a restroom before this news comes out. 9:55, 5 minutes. All right. So all the volume that's coming in here at like 147, 146 is trying to lift price. It's trying to. And it's pretty bullish flow down there at 147. And it's right at the top of yesterday's range. It's right in this 150 low volume area. This 145 low volume area. Just like, of course, it happens 3 minutes before the news release, right? Because this is a scalp long for sure. It's just you can't take the trade because now we're right at the news. And of course, this happens right at the news because this is the markets. Never makes it easy for you, folks. Never makes it easy. So we just leave this alone. Leave it alone. So just to recap, what we're kind of looking at here is one, it's Friday. And on Fridays, you typically have balanced ranges where institutions, they tend to unload their book a little bit, reduce headline risk over the weekend. And so you get this back and forth a little bit. And you're kind of getting that today. We have a very tight range today. But also, what has happened this week with the attempts to auction lower and the failure to do so to get back into this range here on the TPO chart of 7,100, quickly rejecting it yesterday, coming back into balanced range at 150, 160. So either one, you just balance today around this 160, 150 range, completely possible. That is one very highly likely scenario. The other highly likely scenario is now we auction higher. We test the 7200s. Does that happen today? I don't know. It might be a thing that happens next week, like Tuesday, because I don't know what the news flow is for Monday. What the economic releases are, I don't think there are any. Typically aren't on a Monday. I'm not going to check right now anyway. So news in 2 minutes. We'll let this come and go. So I have an overall leaning towards the buy side. I don't want to take any shorts today whatsoever. Even if like it starts to prove to be a very balanced range day and we keep on rejecting the 160 where volume comes in, we keep on wicking the value area highs, quickly rejecting. I still don't want to short it. We're within weekly value. We have the overall bullish narrative. Like if I'm going to scalp a balanced range where I just fade outside of value back into value, I want to do it buying rather than selling. Because then that aligns me with both scenarios. One, the balanced range trade, or potentially the move to auction higher. So quite clearly, we saw the bullish order flow come in here at 147. We're talking about this gap from yesterday, where the high of the close was around 147, which aligns with this 145 volume area right within value. Like that was a probably easy scalp trade right up there to value at 156. But you can't do it because of the news release. So out is the news. And watch the market just not react to this at all. $49.8 forecast was 48.5, so it beat expectations. We see more volume coming in here outside of value and a strong rejection, a quick wick up, quick rejection. You want quick rejection here. We'll take it long. You want a wick though. You want a quick rejection. There's a lot of activity on the bid. No large transactions. Yeah, you're not getting really the quick rejection. I mean, yeah, all the volume's coming in down here at the lows, but I mean, you're still hovering around where all the volume's coming in at. So you're getting both sides there, and you're well outside value now. So this is not the spot that I think we want to go long at, just based off what happened there. And it's like, and then the market's going to be like, haha, tricked you, silly. So let's see what happens. Good injection of volume. Iran foreign minister will be on a brief visit to Pakistan for bilateral talks. 2 Pakistani sources. So volume came in the value area and is now trying to push you back outside of value. That's not a very bullish signal. So it's now just a matter of, again, the order flow to match our overall narrative bias for today. Because not always do I come into the markets being like, oh, the market's based off what it did the last 2 days and having a bullish or bearish leaning. Given what's happening this week, I don't think we can ignore the fact that we should have a bullish leaning. So we'll just wait for order flow to match our bullish leaning and we'll take those trades. Not always the case, but it just happens to be so this week. And if the order flow is just overwhelmingly bearish today, and then we'll just end up missing the trade. So you had a big sell there at 150, 242 contracts. You saw the market jump on it. But we're kind of just like hanging out here outside of value, and we're getting these overlapped rotations. It's not a very quick rejection, even though that 150 kind of got absorbed there. It's not enough for me to get long, and we're doing so outside of value here. Like these overlapped rotations, no quick rejection. Like honestly, I think we need to extend the downside range here a little bit. POC for the week is at 137, it looks like. But I gotta imagine this 145 volume gap is going to be troublesome. Because low volume areas within value either one get filled or rejected pretty quickly. This is a pretty heavy rejection here. This order flow is still pretty bearish. All the volume that's coming in is suppressing price. But the last volume that came in down here held it up. So we'll see if it does it again. Would I want to get long here if it does? Right? It's just like it wants to tempt you here, I think, a little bit. But the fact that we're getting these overlap rotations, I would want more clarity of a bigger dip. I want a stronger attempt to move lower, and then I'd buy it. But like these overlapped rotations, this range that you're kind of, it's like slightly moving down here, I don't like it. Right, this was a better looking move. The absorption's following price lower. Still just the one sell at 150 post news. Yeah, I mean, market doesn't want to get down here in this 148s, 147s. But I mean, also not an easy time getting back into value, right? I mean, this volume just comes in and pushes you right back out. My goodness. But this can happen on balanced Fridays, right? There's just a lot of they have to transact. They need to reduce their book. They have to get it in. And as soon as they get a price that even looks remotely fitting to them, they transact. You got 100 contracts to sell. I have 100 contracts to buy. Let's do a deal. Like I need to get in or out. It is Friday. So all the volume that came in here still suppressed price. So let's see what happens here if now the volume starts to change, because the volume up here, for the most part, has been suppressing price here at the POC. You're unable to get above the median of this distribution. And typically that would be a bearish sign. But we're not entertaining bearish ideas today. Yeah. Sellers like that liquidity right there at 154, folks. They sure do. But like they're not willing to continue it lower. They're willing to meet you there. They absorb the price, right? You hit market buy at 154. They're glad to sell to you there, but they don't follow it down. Unless you have more case for a balanced range today. So thinking about scenarios in which we would possibly get long. One would be an extension of the range lower, below 145. You make a hard attempt below 145 and it gets quickly rejected on heavy volume and we come back into the prior range with not many overlapping rotations. That would be one scenario for a long. Another scenario here is a break of this POC at 155 and then a retest of it. That gets quickly bought up and absorbed. Buyer at 52 and a half. Like it wants you to put something on here, right? There's a lot of resistance to getting down here to 145. A lot. There's a lot of activity on the bid, and you just cannot stay down there. I want to put I'll put a limit order at 151 just to test the waters here, and then 143 it. 143 the catastrophic stop. So we rotated into 151. I didn't get the fill. Fucker. You rotated into 151. Why didn't you fill me? Why didn't you fill me? Where's the volume here? It's at 152. Yeah, it's going to leave us behind. I'll limit 152, and on luck, maybe we'll get filled. Catastrophic stop at 144. Yeah, god damn it. It rotated right into 151, and then I didn't get filled. Like, I literally saw it rotate into 151. So we're still in at 152, trying to get in at 152. But I don't want to chase this too high. I don't want to chase it to the POC. I'm not getting in at the POC at all. Unless we do some sort of move above the POC when we come back and retest it and fail to take it. But I would want to be down here near the value area low until that occurs. God damn you, market. Fill me next time, would you please? All right, now we got to cancel our order. You silly. Oh, it's so close. It's so close to being filled. Next time, just hit the market. I mean, the failure to get outside here is just overwhelming. And along with our bullish narrative, like I can't just sit on my hands and not take a position down here at 151, 152. And we just didn't get filled. It rotated into our order and it just didn't fill it. It happens. It happens. But still getting rejection of the value area high. So let's see if we come back down into this area again. Quickly reject it again. All right, not getting long here, anywhere near the POC. We got to have some room for error here. Right, because if you get long here at 154, price can easily come down to 148 again and still maintain the bullish narrative. Right, you can quickly reject down here and you'll get stopped out. Right, we want to get a lower price if we can so we can place our stop outside this range. Ideally. But sellers still meeting you up here. They're still willing to sell here. And we're right in this 150, 160 balance range. I mean, the market just might not do anything today. This might just be it until some crazy news headline comes out in the afternoon and just, sends the market sideways. I would like to see us hold in the upper portion of this value area and then test the POC. I don't want it to come down and like just bounce around right here. Like we want definitively that we can hang out around here. And then when it comes back and tries to rotate back into the POC, fails to do so, and then you can snap the highs. All right, but we need to be spending a little more time up here. The time acceptance factor of order flow. So yeah, that's good. Now, if we try to rotate back down here into 154, quickly reject it, that would be better. But I also wanted to close kind of up here for the moment, up near this volume. I don't want this volume to quickly push this back down because now then it just matches what's been happening. I do eventually think we break this. Again, bullish narrative. Everything that's been happening. You cannot get lower here. So let's try to get higher. I mean, this looks pretty good. You're not quickly rejecting this now. You've quickly rejected it the last two times you were up in this region. Now you're hanging here. All the volume that's coming in it's supporting price for the moment. This is good bullish order flow. Now let's get a better entry. Let's get the retracement back into the 154 POC. Let's use this as a launch platform to test potentially highs of today's distribution, but potentially highs of the weekly distribution if this market wants to even contemplate doing such a thing today. But again, because it's Friday, I don't know if it's gonna. I think the odds are that it's a balanced range over any extenuating move that tests highs of 180. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. We think the market's going to get that far on a Friday. And it's just been a balanced week. We've tested lower a couple of times, rejected 7,100. Now we're just finding balance around 150, 160. That just could just be the ultimate theme of the day. As we come back into value, right? Like if it was extraordinarily bullish, you'd wick this and come close right outside of value on heavy volume. But the volume's up here outside of value that pushed you back in. So that's pretty bearish. But the moderately bullish scenario is the one that we're highlighting, that we come back down towards the POC where the majority of this position is you reject and wick that and then use that as a platform. And you've broken the seller absorption too, right? Like this seller absorption is now coming in at higher prices. So overall, we're starting to see some more bullish order flow, right? And we have an overall bullish narrative, but now let's just try to find good entries where we're not, risking too much to get in. So a buy that just came in, right? Yep. Large trade at 155 for 200 contracts. Right there. I mean, this stop's got to be pretty wide here, folks. Right? If we're transacting at the POC. Let's just see what happens here a little bit. Right, because this is kind of the scenario we're exactly looking for. Right now, buyer absorption is coming in at higher prices. I mean, I would like 155. I just don't want to get in above this POC here. Not ideal. Because if this is the balance range, and then the top of this range is going to be up here 161, 162. And if you get in at 56, 57, and you're putting your stop all the way down here potentially, right? Because you got to allow the market to do this bullish move where it takes 152s and resists it. So you got to be down here somewhere with your stop at least. Like, I'm just not a big fan of chasing. I don't like it. I'd rather just be patient and wait for a good limit entry, or at least a better spot to hit the market button. But now we're working the upper part of this distribution range, right? We worked the bottom, couldn't get really outside of value for any meaningful period of time. Kept on banging up against the PLC. Now you're banging up against it on the other side. All right, these are your entry points down here at 154. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now you just got to get in when the getting is good. You got to be patient until you have to be overwhelmingly decisive. All right, so like this order flow right now, like you just want to buy the market, like kind of up here. It's just like, and it's the emotional part of trading. Because now you're getting these rotations right here at the value area high. You're not very quickly rejecting this. Like you're kind of just rotating back and forth up here towards the highs, right? And I suspect any move down here is going to get wicked, quickly rejected. And if it does it again, we are adding positions. And we won't be as patient this time, I don't think. I'll let this play out a little bit. Because the top seller from this morning is 157 and a quarter. All right, they're all underwater. All sellers are underwater. Buyers are not too bad right now. Top buyer is 158.50. And part of me wants to use this 57 and a quarter as a kind of a reference range to take along. I just don't know if we're even going to get back to the POC right now. This is bearish order flow for sure. The volume is suppressing price. If we get down here and we get a flip in the order flow, let's see. Let's see. Fed swaps price more easing by year end after report on the Department of Justice reports that who wrote this headline? Department of Justice reports that expect to drop criminal probe of Fed Chair Powell as soon as Friday. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I get it. They spend more money than they absolutely fucking should, but you didn't probably do anything criminal. So not overly convinced on this right here. Not overly convinced. Let's just be patient. Let's not get crazy, but I mean, what a tight range we're in for this morning. I mean, we have not been above 160 since the open. And we've been just trading between 160 and 145 this morning. That's it. 15-point range and S&Ps. Not very wide, folks. Not very wide. Ooh. Talks in Islamabad will be bilateral. No U.S. participation expected. Iranian officials to stay in Islamabad only a few hours. Well, that's not good. If you're hoping for peace, yeah, you're going to break this. Here comes the pop, folks. Here comes the pop. But this order flow wasn't just very convincing to me. Even though I do get the suspicion you're now going to pop and test these highs, at least of the daily distribution and the value area high from the weekly distribution. It's just the entry point and where you're going to put your stop. Nope. We would need a pretty significant move to justify that risk. The less risk we take, the less move we need to make to justify that risk. And the volume's still coming in here at 161 to 162. Still keeps you down. All right, potential for a very balanced distribution day. All right, that's why also potentially why you don't want to be taking entries here towards the top of this range. $157.25 was the last sale price on the large transactions. Everything else is below this. The last man standing right here. Little volume injection there. Good amount of volume coming in, trying to hold up price here. All right, you should be resistant to the POC. All right. Like I got my finger on the buy market button. It's just because I feel like the stop just needs to be down at least to 150 to allow you to hit 152s and still do a change. And yeah, we've had these run ups into 160, 161, 162 that have just failed every time. But the fact that we're able to break seller absorption, sellers are being absorbed at higher prices, and just cannot break below this. I mean, 157. I'll put a limit in at 157, see if we can't get hit here. And then I'll stop it at 150 on a quarter position. Just because this isn't just overwhelming to me like, hey, load up here. It's not. And now we're not going to get back. I don't want to chill. Dude, I'll do 157.5. Okay, guys? Jeez. Like, make me buy these ridiculous prices. And it's not going to get filled. But I mean, this has all the hallmarks of wanting to break higher now, I think, a little bit. And this will be the second time we get left behind. Fill me. Fill me. Actually, it'll fill me and then just run straight to the stop. Like, yeah, you wanted to fill, boy? Okay, finally filled at 57.5. Just quarter position because this is not the greatest spot. All right, much prefer somewhere down here. So stop at 150 would add to the position if we come down here, get strong rejection on heavy volume. We'll also add if we break 160 and do a retest. I will not buy again on a break of 160, only on the retest of that range. And it's this volume right here at 161. But I like that all the sellers are underwater. I like that we have a bullish narrative. I like the fact that we can't get back below the POC. There's tends to be pretty strong resistance here. We're rotating just under the value area highs, not quickly being rejected, absorbing sellers at higher prices. I mean, what more would you need for a potential long trade? The probabilities are in your favor. Just, it could absolutely go wrong. Bad news headline, a bunch of volume comes in and just smokes your trade. That happens. But I think absolutely probabilities are on our side for a potential little bit of a break here and a run of the highs, at least to 167. I'm not going to scalp a quarter position from 157 to 161. I'm looking for a break on this. If it comes down to 153, I get good order flow down here. I'll add a quarter for a half and then scalp a quarter to 161. But if we come down here, volume starts to come in, starts to hold price lower, right? And we can't get back above this POC, we're going to be looking to scratch. So there's a few scenarios that I'm entertaining right now and telling myself ahead of time before things start to happen and before I start to emotionally react, like I already have the game plan set forth on what conditions I'll exit the trade early, what conditions will I add to the trade, what am I kind of looking for in the trade. So if we get volume down here at like 154-ish, heavy volume comes in and lifts us back and we can't get above the POC or back down below. All right, but if all this volume keeps price down at 153, we got to try to scratch the trade. Yeah, right? Yeah. You want it to quickly reject now. Yeah, it's going to stop us. If you close back up here above 153, I'll add to it with the same stop at 150. Yeah. All right. I'll put on a little more. Full stop at 150, I think. I mean, we might wick it. But if our average is 155 and 3/4, I don't want to stop really much lower. I don't think. I mean, 149. How about 150 and then 149? You got to finish above this volume. But that's pretty heavy volume coming right at the value area low and push it lower. You want more volume, come in, lift price. Good. Good. But you want to get back in value pretty quickly here. We don't want to stay outside here. We don't want rotations overlapping down here. Yeah, we're going to get stopped for sure. At least part of it, probably. Or not. All right, that's constructive. We don't want to see any more volume coming in here to suppress price. We want the volume coming on this side and pushing price in, not volume coming in here and pushing price out. Right? The volume's coming in here and trying to push price out. You close above this, that's more constructive, right? That's good. Good signs. Bullish order flow, bullish order flow, bullish order flow. So long as you stay above this little volume node right here, 154. So let's see if we can get above this POC and hold. Yeah, real close on that one. Real close, folks. Yeah, that was a pretty bad fill. 154. Now, the market should not want to come outside this value area anymore. But stop on the core position at 150, stop at 149. You get stopped, you get stopped. Nothing we can do about this, folks. We took a probable trade. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I like that volume's lift in price there, right at the value area low. Average price is 55 3/4. No large transactions since 10/14. I feel like getting above 157 again is kind of critical because that's where the highest seller is. That's heavy. I see heavy volume coming here again. Keep this out of here. And sellers have been just with the pressure today, not making it easy. We want to stay above volume. You're just struggling here. You're really struggling to get above this POC again. That's not favorable for us at all. All right, that volume came in. Yeah, you're going to get stopped. So we'll maybe try to divest here a little bit. 153 rotation. Okay, so out for part of it. Just because this volume coming in right at the value area low. Right, so we got out at 153 on part of it. Stop remains at 149 for the other quarter. And we'll let this play a little bit. Like, you really shouldn't be spending time down here. Now you're getting overlapped rotations. You're starting to accept prices lower. It becomes a lot more precarious for the longs. I mean, you're getting the volume coming in, trying to push you right back into value, but sellers are willing to meet you here. Willing to meet you at 153, 152 now. So I don't think holding 149 is going to be reasonable. I think that'll get stopped too. Yeah, for sure. Or then you get a sudden injection of volume. It's like, just kidding, just kidding. We're trapping and kidding people. So there's a large sale at 151 1/4. That's probably what that little jump was. 106 contracts. So just quarter position. You now need this to do a lot to add. Again, we need to be back above the POC. I need to see price rejecting the POC for me to add back to this again. But we got out at a good rotation. That second piece was in at 154. We got out at 153. 1/4 piece, so good rotation. But you don't want to be spending time here. Like, we are absolutely not out of the woods by any means here. All right, this isn't very convincing order flow right here. This is negative. This is negative. This is a little bullish. But you see how we're like kind of overlapping in this area? We're kind of developing a new range down here. You didn't want that at all. All right, the whole bullish narrative of this originally was we were rejecting the point of control and we were going to make a break to 167. You now are not able to get above the point of control. Right? So until we see that part of this narrative return, we're not going to be re-engaging. So still a quarter piece. Price is 154. Oh, because the first in, first out, right? Yeah. The first piece was in at 57.50. So the first piece was in at 57.50, rotated out at 53. Second piece is in at 54. But only do we get above this, start hanging up near the value area high again, and then are able to reject the point of control yet once again, will I add? Because I'm still looking at a break and at least a test of 167 today. I mean, to think that we're going to stay in this tight of a range for the entire day, I think is kind of crazy. But also this week, we've seen ranges stay very tight until the afternoon, and then some afternoon news flow extends the range. Buyer at 152. Yeah, you would have been stopped out at the 150 anyway. So I want to get a little more clearance away from this point of control. I don't just want to get a barely above and then a bunch of sellers come in and then just push it right back down. All right, because now we've definitely had this scenario where both buyers and buyers, they're absorbing kind of at the same price. Sellers have absorbed at worse prices. So that still kind of remains a bullish narrative. But I'm really getting the impression that the market is not going to really go into price discovery mode today. It's Friday, balanced range. Institutions are unloading their books. So if we even get up to 161, 162 again, we'll see kind of what the price action is doing. If it quickly rejects it, just exit the trade. But you're kind of just still wicking both sides of the point of control. Volume came in right at the point of control. This looks very clean now, right? Look how nice and well-rounded this is. Like price is now going to want to, this is a complete auction, right? When you get this type of look on a normal distribution, it starts to represent a complete auction, right? So price is now going to want to migrate away from here to find new areas of liquidity. And if we've already tested lower all this week, I don't really see what the point of testing down into the 130s and the 120s again is. We've done that twice this week, quickly rejected both times. So still long at 154. Got shooken out on a quarter piece. Still have a quarter piece in. And I want to see what happens up at 161, 162 again. Right? Because you did make an honest attempt to try to go lower here, I think, on behalf of sellers. And again, you couldn't do it. But if we get if we are just like rotating again, like kind of at the highs, we're not quickly rejecting it, volume's coming in and still holding up price, we're not going to scalp exit it at 160. I'd rather try to add to it at 156 and again play for that break. And then should we move our stop to break even? Yeah, 54 and a quarter. And just protect, because this is a pretty far retracement, right? If we're bullish, you don't come back below this point of control. And 54 and a quarter, you're going to have to come back pretty far below it. So still getting the resistance volume. Oh, geez, Lapis market. All right, reject it with heavy volume. Don't just stop me out at 54 and a quarter, please. That wouldn't be nice. But all the volume is up here at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, this is a range day for sure. Yeah, so stopped. Yeah, this is a very tight range. This is a very hard to scalp this range, right? Because you need very good entries. And you kind of need the order flow to confirm your entry first. So that means you, by definition, can't get that great of an entry. Oh my God. Like the tick madness here, folks, right? ES didn't even rotate into 54 and a quarter, but MES did. Lots of buyers at 58 and a half. All got absorbed here. That was a large size, about 1,000 contracts here. And now you get the break. Oh my gosh. If trading isn't the hardest thing in the world, I don't know what it is, folks. I don't know what it is. So now that you're like trying to break this range, you didn't really do it. It wasn't a very convincing break, but the volume did come in at the high of the range and hold you up. Now we got to look for a test back into value. Oh, you bugger. You just what are you going to do? That's the markets for you, folks. Good reads, though. I mean, good reads. It's just the volatility sometimes will get you. You get rotated right to the tick out. ES didn't rotate into it, but MES did. Now, what are you going to do? Make sure we don't have any open orders. Hit that exit button, folks. Time's up. Lost track. Ooh, 10:40. Still got time. Still got time, folks. Still got time. So yeah, we're probably slightly negative on the day now, which is so disappointing because we're reading the market exactly for what it is. But I want this to come lower here. I want to at least get a rotation into 160, right, where this volume comes in and it lifts price out right here. And then 58.50 should kind of be the line in the sand because that's where the large orders came in and that got absorbed before the break. Like a ton of size just got thrown out to market at 58.5 and it broke it. Volume in here is coming in and it's suppressing you. Sellers are absorbing at higher prices. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, you definitely want a rotation in, I think, to 160. Man, you can't be mad at yourself for this today. I mean, that was just rotational unluck right there, for sure. Like, I get happy when I read the markets as well as I do sometimes, but, you know, sometimes the trades don't always align. You don't always get what you were looking for. But market's not quickly rotating back into value, right? Again, overlapping rotations here outside value. The volume that's coming in for the most part is suppressing price. So this doesn't look like it's going to be just a runaway break unless, you know, there's a big injection of buy volume here. And it's like, oh yeah, is that what you needed? It'd be great if you could just like speak things into the world and they're like, okay, a bunch of volume come in now, lift the market. Nope. Yeah. See, the volume coming in here near the highs is suppressing things. And it's right at the value area high for the week. All right, getting continuous absorption on behalf of sellers. So the interesting thing you're going to be looking for here is whether or not you can rotate back into value and how quickly the rejection is and how quickly the volume comes in to move things back outside of value. Drives me crazy. Come on now. Just rotate down, get a bunch of volume to come in, do a little wick action, quick rejection, and we'll speculate another long. But possible that you come back into value, the volume comes in, and then it just fails, right? And we continue the rotational game, the balanced range day. All right, this is just so clean. Look how clean this distribution is. It's amazing. But it's also starting to look really, really complete. And if you can't auction lower, which you've tested already twice this week, now you're going to test the auction higher theory. But I just give me an entry that I can work with, please. I can't work with this. So I'll just say with my arms crossed, try to get something in before 11 o'clock. Yeah, I mean, these are overlapping rotations here you're getting at the highs, the value area high. Yeah, you probably are going to test higher a little bit, I think. Might not be some huge explosive move, but God, it's not even going to rotate down for an entry. And things not to do is buy the extensions of a distribution. This is not the place you buy. So much risk. Activity on the offer, volume comes in, still suppressing price. So we have bearish flow, still neutral, bearish, bearish, a little bullish. The verdict is still out, neutral to bearish. But I mean, potentially the market just runs away here without us. And I only say that because we were so picky about our long positions today. So picky. Tried to get long at, what was the first time? 143 or something? No, it wasn't 143. I want to say it was like 145 and 148 or something. And we didn't get filled down here. It rotated into one of them and it didn't fill it. Still the volume that's coming in at the top of the distribution. It's trying to hold up price. All the activities on the offer for the most part. Buyer at 65 and a quarter for 139 contracts. All right, that's probably going to mark your swing high. Or not. Or not. Good reads today, folks. My gosh. Ugh. It's terrible that we didn't profit more from this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is just now walking away from us. Not going to offer you any chance to get in. Man, we got stopped out to the rotational tick. Oh, well. So I'm not sure what a good entry now is to continue a bullish trade. Right, because it's just rotating back here outside of value, maybe to this range high at 164, maybe. But it's, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Are at 170 and a half. Oh, you literally bought the high. Not very convincing here. Maybe a dip back into this range that quickly gets rejected would be a bullish theme, possibly. Right back. Oh no, we got our rotation into the prior range that was quickly rejected. Oh, you bugger. I mean, for price to come back all the way down to 164 for the entry now would not be good. Shit. Of course, I got up right when that happens. But I mean, this is going to be precarious once you get up to 170, I think, outside of value. And it's all large buy side on the institutions, absorbing at higher prices, volumes coming in, trying to lift price. Still, all the majority of the volume on that candle was up here, not down here. Not terribly ideal. Yeah, gosh darn it. Yeah, I don't know if we can get anything now. We're getting too close to 11 o'clock. See if it does it again. It's like I want to try like a quarter precarious long here. Yeah, I'm willing to try it at 167. Just we're not going to get the rotation into it, I don't think. That's the way our luck is going today. The rotational ranges haven't been beneficial to us. All right, you're getting absorbed all the way up here on behalf of buyers. But I mean, come on, I'm not buying at 168 and 169, folks. Like, that's so crazy. I'm buying the highs of the distribution as much as I think you're potentially going to rotate higher. Like, just I want to at least have a somewhat decent price here. Just rotate down. Just rotate down real quick, and then volume come in, lift you up. Come on. But buyers are absorbing at higher prices here. They're rotating, overlapping here. You're going to probably extend this range higher. I would like to potentially be a part of it. But I'm being a little dick for a tick. And this is a precarious long up here. I feel like MES just rotated in 167 again and just did not fill me. That's the second time it's happened today. God. If this takes off without me, I'm just we're closing my computer. I'm enjoying my weekend. The overlapping compression's good. Buyer absorption, just we're not getting a fill. All right, because I want 167. The lows of these rotations. I also don't want price to crater and fill me, you know? Just barely rotate into 167. Just rotate for a minute. Fill me up. Okay, so in at 167, my stop, which I never placed because I got super complacent, was 161 on a quarter piece. Thinking that we're going to do a little bit of a break and a test higher here. I don't think things are going to get crazy, but we just can't rotate back anywhere towards value. Sellers are being absorbed at higher prices. We have the bullish narrative. The only thing I think is fighting us right now is the fact that we're outside value on the weekly distribution, and that's Friday. I think those are the primary factors that are fighting this trade right now. And the fact that we're at the value area high of the daily distribution, probably also not ideal. But we're overlapping these rotations here. Like, you're not getting quick rejections. Sellers are absorbing up here, but they're not actively selling. So we'll just let it play out a little bit. This is going to be an order flow exit. The highs of the weekly distribution are at 180. I think that's a pretty aggressive target for us to get to, if you can even extend this range at all, right? When all this volume comes in here and still suppresses price, like we're in a precarious long at a precarious time on a precarious weekly distribution, weekly and daily distribution. Like, I would love to see just a bunch of volume come in and just start lifting this. All right, with the volume that just came in there, just, held it down. I mean, 161, I think, is plenty of room, right? I don't think the market would want to come anywhere down in here, 165s, 164s. If we see that and it builds volume and pushes the market lower anywhere in this region, we're going to look to rotate out. All right, when the order flow changes the narrative that you need for your trade, you need to look for a rotation out, right? The 161 stop is catastrophic. That's if volatility just all of a sudden came in and shot the market down, it would scratch our trade. But I don't actively let price just like slowly rotate down into 161 to get out. That's so dumb, right? When the order flow shifts and the trade's no longer working, look to get out on a rotation. All right, but you want to see a lot of volume come in here and try to extend these highs. I mean, stop play movement. Like, you want to allow this some wiggle room, but again, because this is a kind of a precarious long. Like, I'm already willing to move my stop to 167 just based off the time, right? I don't want to see it rotate all the way back down here after coming above here. That would be not good for our trade. So yeah, I'll go to 167 and a quarter, and we get stopped out on that too. You get stopped out on that, but like, I want to see a bunch of volume coming in and lift this. If this rotates back down into this range again, I mean, we'll just scratch. It's 1057. We're at the end of our trading session. And the volume's trying to hold it. You're trying to hold it. You're getting somewhat activity on the bid up near the highs. That's a decent, thing to be happening. But I gotta imagine there's other precarious longs up here. And then the market would love nothing better than to run this down, stop you out, and then continue on its way. But so you got positive order flow here near the top of the range. That's good. I'll probably be aggressive with this stop movement. All right. So 67 and a quarter on the stop, entry at 67. It's just because, we're in a precarious spot. Yeah, we're gonna stop out for sure. Ah, damn it. Done it. Jim, done it. If that volume can hold up price and then moves that POC down, that's constructive. It looks like it wants to, but it didn't. I mean, that was decent volume. That came in at 169 to lift price. No large buyers since 1046 to 170.50. Part of me just wants to scalp this to 170.50 because these are just not breaking this range in any meaningful manner. Yeah, I still think the 167 and a quarter is fine, right? Because you're above this. This is a little bit of a range right here, right? That's forming with a high of 169, right? That you now just resisted with some volume, right? So 167 and a quarter, I think, is just fine. And the fact that you're not quickly rejecting this, I think, is pretty constructive, right? But you want volume to come in and just blast these sellers that have just absolutely been just glad to sell to you in these prices. You bring in a bunch of buys right now, they're going to have to cover. But the question is, are a bunch of people going to be willing to buy on a Friday with Iran war negotiations not going so well? All right, and you're getting absorption here. All right, kind of just want to just scalp it at 170, but also want to give it a chance to break. All right, especially now that you're resisting the top of this range at 160. So let's see what happens here with this flow. It's pretty neutral. Bullish, bearish, bullish, somewhat bullish, somewhat neutral, neutral now. Right, you would want bullish flow here. This isn't really what it is. Again, flashes of seller absorption. These wicks here are nice, but you want this to start running. And that could just be me being impatient, given that it's already after 11 o'clock and we're already extending our trading session with this very precarious long at 167. But what you don't want to do is really have like this very tight defined range here and you just go above it and start another very tight defined range. Like you want a range, break it, and then start another defined range higher away from the previous range. You want there to be a gap. Those are the strongest moves. You're still getting buyer absorption here. More buyers. Large buyer came in at 171. All right, so they're still trying. I'll be greedy. 67.5 on the stop. Because I think you got to allow it to wick this a little bit. Again, flashes absorption on both sides, but you're overlapping the rotations. This isn't bearish by any means. It doesn't seem like. It's just not very bullish either. So if we get stopped out at 67.5, you get stopped out at 67.5. I'm not adding to it. No way. This is we're right above the previous range. I mean, you're barely wicking it. Where the volume's coming in, it's kind of bearish, right? You had bullish order flow here, but this was bearish. This is neutral to bearish, neutral to bearish, neutral to bearish, neutral to bullish, right? This isn't the order flow you were looking for. This is not the order flow you were looking for. But we'll hang in here because these overlapping rotations and stuff. Like I'm not looking to just scalp this out at 171. I don't think. But I do want a meaningful move higher, please. If you'd be so kind. You're just getting wishy-washy with the range. I mean, the volume that it's flat like this and not really tapering off all that much is good. There's more constructive signs than there are negative signs. And I almost get the impression like a large seller is about to come in and just smack this. Right? Because you have all these large buyers accumulating at 171, 170, 165. Like just to come in and just smoke them. And especially because we're not getting very far. Like this is just a grind higher. Yeah. Low stop still remains at 6,750. Back within this rotational range. Yeah, I mean the order flow I think is just telling me like I need to get out. I think I'm just being stubborn. right? Because anytime we come back in this prior range, it wicks it, right? That's why I think I keep holding out. But all this volume that's coming in this area is suppressing price for the most part up until this very last moment when we talked about it. And still, it looks like it's going to suppress price. So should I just scalp out at 171 and then watch it run later? This isn't heavy absorption. Buyers are mean. We keep on getting flashes of the buyer absorption, and it's going to really suck when this comes down and wicks me at 167.50 and then does its break. I 100% would expect that to happen today. Decent number on the buyer absorption, but I mean, you gotta make a meaningful extend of this range. If we come out of this range and get back in, we're just getting out. I'm done waiting for this. We got other things to do. And this market has been annoying enough today. Reads have been good. It's just trade-wise, just hasn't been great. I mean, total P&L, we're probably just break even right now. And I think I'm holding out on this because I just want to finish the day with a little profit. When this order flow is just telling me, like, yeah, just take your 170 and run. Right? You got your 3 points. Just be done with it. Pay for some transaction costs today. Yeah, emotional. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any news lately? Nope. No news since quite some time. Israel's prime minister, we have begun a process toward achieving a historic peace between Israel and Lebanon. Cool. See, now it's going to stop me at my 167.50, and it's going to make a run. All right, so we're stopped. We're out. Thank God. I'm so tired of sitting here. And then watch it just go. Oh, you bastard. Right to the tick. Right, here's 167.50. Now, if it runs, I haven't stopped us out at 167.50. I mean, that's just, oh my God. But we can't be disappointed because I had a pretty good week. Thanks to afternoon trading session yesterday, which of course I did not record. But I mean, this is just comical this morning. When I watch this replay this weekend, it's just I'm gonna have to have a drink while I do it. You bugger. All right. Well, that's enough for me. Thank you for tuning in. If you did, happy Friday. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Get some rest and relaxation. Do not think about the markets. Come back Monday fresh and reloaded and ready to go. All right. I hope to all see you on Monday.